Good evening, folks, and welcome to Marshall Met, episode 29. And Renee is running a little late. Tonight we have Brian Mayr. But before we get into that, we are finally sponsored. How exciting. And so I've been mostly reading this on FM discussion, but spoke to Dr. Steve, and he said, throw it out there in Marshall Met. So basically, those of you who are not familiar, Dr. Stephen Perlman has just recently released a new book called Marshall Theory. In conjunction with that, though, he actually has a website called Marshall Theory, where a bunch of others, yours truly, have put videos on there for instructional purposes and to grow the overall site. And it's just started. It's pretty in-depth as far as not only the book, but the actual site. Here are the books in case you have not seen them in there. So, Marshall Mayr, this is the actual book. In conjunction with that, he also has a workbook in there. So, definitely want to check that out. But what makes it special and unique? Well, here we go. Many of you have, know of Joel. He's a guru in Balintawak. He's behind it as well. He construes it as a martial arts classic, gone of the old world text of explaining and singular stylistic focus on a recipe book of techniques. Instead, Dr. Perlman has authored at first of his kind on the tactics and the precepts that cross all boundaries of style. This book truly liberates the reader from the classical mess. I don't care if you're into FMA, traditional karate, Krav Maga, MMA, BJJ, it doesn't matter. Believe me when I tell you that martial theory in the Martial Theory workbook, if you're up for a challenge, will take your understanding of an art to an entirely new level, regardless of what it is. You can find the Martial Theory in the workbook on Amazon, paperbook, ebook, and actually the audio format as well. But just give me another few things to tell you about the Martial Theory University online. MTU Online is where you can learn from senior instructors who take concepts from the book and put them into their action their own style. So, for instance, I did one on non-telegraphic, and there's others who've done anything. But you can see all those on the website there. It's worth checking out. These are instructional videos every week, new instructor every month, discussion forums, live events, Q&As with Dr. Perlman, and more. Believe me, I'm that much instructor there too. So when you sign up at marshall30.com, the letter U is there capitalized again, .com. Make sure to put the code FMA podcast. You will get 20% off already discounted price for its launch. Again, that's marshall30.com. Put the code in, you get 20% off. Again, you get a bunch of stuff on there you can learn from, senior instructors there. And it's not just FMA centric. It's across the wide gamut of all martial arts in there. And so we're checking out. And again, if you haven't got the book, both are on Amazon there. And without further ado, we're going to get into tonight. If you have questions, please put them on the right-hand side. If you're watching, tell us where you're watching from. Smash that like button. And without further ado, here is Brian Mayr. Welcome to the torture chamber.
Be here. Thank you.
Hey there. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited about this. I'm excited.
I'm just hoping, but hey, we've had nobody walk off the show, knock on wood, so we have everybody come on and treat with respect, and, hopefully they have an enjoyable time. And so far, so good. Nobody's walked off either show. So we're at 100%. And here we go. Oh, and Renee is here. All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Renee, nice to meet you. I'm super excited to be on here. Big fan.
You're a big fan. So just to let you know, Brian, I am the nice one.
I've watched enough to gather. Yes, I am.
Renee.
So listen, everybody who says that is in the end, their deep dark secret is that they're not nice. I am actually the nicest person. And I just literally as I was coming on, all I heard is I've never had anybody walk off, and I was like, oh my god, challenge accepted.
Yeah, let
the roasting begin.
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
You know, maybe I'll just have some sugar. Maybe that will help.
Oh my God, you got more candy.
Buddy,
Jeez.
have you
I
tried these?
was
Have you tried these? The
Never.
Nerds
my
gummies?
kids love those. My daughters love them. Yeah.
No. The only thing I
I get
will eat, and I can't keep my hands off it, if they're in their near proximity of me, is what you had last week.
oh the Sour Patch.
Those things, man, just keep them away from me, man, because I'll freaking create a jihad on them. I mean, I'm
Oh,
just,
I'm telling you, like my my kids are in questioning their dwindling Halloween candy stash, right?
where'd it go?
You got to tell them you take
Like,
it to work. You got to tell them you got to dwindle it down
oh
and take it.
no, no, no. I these there's these ones are the ones that come in the blue pack. You know, I'm pretty sure like one of these is enough to give you diabetes, but I literally will eat an entire pack in like 3 seconds.
Oh my
And I'm like
goodness.
this at work.
Yeah, so part of the show is we highlight candy. Oh, and what's the beverage that you're behind?
Well, normally it'd be a bubbly, but I'm having the lovely Corona Zero.
Oh, oh, nice.
Well, Brian will take up the for the bubbly tonight.
Yeah, I have the kids
Excellent.
tonight, so otherwise I would have a beer with you otherwise, but
This is it's the zero alcohol.
right.
So yeah.
Yep.
My
And
God.
that way, you know, if it was alcohol, it would justify me actually playing with toys.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would love to try to be gluten free. I'm trying to strive for that, but it's like not easy today, right? With everything. So, welcome to the show. So today, what the reason we started the show was that we could leave the FMA lane. It wouldn't have to be just FMA centric. We could cross into other arts and those who train multiple disciplines in there, and such as yourself. So, to kick it off, just so folks might not who don't know your background extensively, like where'd you start out as far as your martial arts?
Okay, so adult life, I started in Northern Shaolin in Madison, Wisconsin for a few years, and that was a lot of fun. It was a good entry. It was a traditional school, very very traditional, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. So that was for a few years. Then when I moved up to Minnesota, I started a kung fu club with a Southern Shaolin guy at the University of Minnesota. So we did that for a little while, but that's when I discovered the Minnesota Kali Group. So. And that absolutely blew my mind because coming from, long fists and
Yeah,
Shaolin and the forms and whatnot, strangely enough, our sparring looked like kickboxing. I mean, it honestly, but the Panatukan and JKD at the Kali Center just blew my mind. And it was the first time I ever got exposed to it. And I fell in love. So most of my adult life, I've been really focused on empty hand. I love kickboxing. I love Panatukan and JKD. And I've sought out those schools across my journey with that. So spent several years at the Minnesota Kali Group. They had a great kickboxing class. They had a boxing instructor there, so I took some boxing there as well. I loved the Panatukan and JKD aspect of it. They have the phase one. I believe they call it the blend system now. So there was, the sticks, and it was enough to just I did enough to get by in the phase, but my passion was the JKD and Jun Fan stuff because I thought it was shocking to see from a Northern Shaolin perspective. So enjoyed that for several years, and then while I was there, I came across Master Lee Barden. Lee Barden was from Florida, and he ran in a American karate school down there. But he was known for the chucks, and he was moving nunchucks unlike anything I'd ever seen before because everybody's still on the Bruce Lee stuff. You hear this guy is talking about graphs and circles and lanes and hand positions in those circles and how it enhances your other arts and how it's a wonderful training tool and how, he's trying to get this in the JKD hands, people that do JKD. And he trained with Paul Vunak. So he was working with Paul Vunak and then also working on a chuck system with a different instructor, Grandmaster Roy Williams. So I started correspondence with him, and this is before the internet was big. So it was VHS. So I got some VHS tapes from him, and then it was it's a lot different now than just sending you a 20-second video for WPM stuff. So you had to film a video and send it down. So I wanted to learn his chuck style because I thought it was really unique and it was completely different than what I saw. And he kept telling me, this is going to enhance your other arts, if you do this. So, but he said, let's meet up. We'll meet up at Diamond Nationals each year, and I will check your chucks and I'll check your hands, see how your hands are doing as well. So, got certified in the chuck system under him when he came up the last time to Diamond Nationals, and that was great. And then in one of the senior instructors at the Minnesota Collie Group was certified under Dan Inosanto in the Inosanto Academy. So he was from the Inosanto Academy. He broke off and started his own school in Northeast Minneapolis, Cornerstone Martial Arts. So he was certified in Jun Fan, kickboxing, and he was a PTI guy. So a couple of us jumped there. So I was at the Minnesota Collie Group for 2 location changes, and then me and my girlfriend live closer to Mike O'Melia, who started Cornerstone Martial Arts. So several of us jumped with him. So I spent some years there. And that was the first time I actually met Tuhan Bill McGrath. And I wasn't a big knife guy. But Mike was big on knife sparring and kickboxing. So Tuhan Bill did a seminar at Minnesota Collie Group, and then he did a seminar at Cornerstone. And there was only a couple of us there. So it was really nice to spend the afternoon with them, go to a deli and hear some stories and stuff like that. But again, my focus was the empty hand. My focus was empty hand. That was my big passion. So working with Lee, did Cornerstone Martial Arts. Mike O'Melia moved his school to Western Minnesota, and then I believe he went out to California. So continued training with Lee, got certified, and then we moved, my future wife and I moved to Southern Minnesota. So a couple of years of not really training much. We settled down, we had kids close in age. But then when we were, when I was my mid 40s, we had to do something health-wise. And, we were both unhealthy and bad habits and stuff like that. And, opposite shifts, taking care of the kids. So I joined the local kickboxing school in our town and got to work and lost 50 pounds. I actually got in better shape, closer to 50 than I was in my 30s. And then the ex-wife did CrossFit. She went that route and lost a whole bunch of weight. So for 5 years, it was kickboxing and CrossFit. I was obsessed with the fitness aspect of it. But then COVID hit, and then, all the gyms closed down. So
welcome Zoom.
Welcome to online. So at that time too, we separated and got a divorce. So then all of a sudden I'm a single dad and have a lot of time on my hands. So either, become a massive alcoholic or get to work and use my time productively. So that's when I, started like picking styles that I always wanted to learn and never really learned. So I wanted to get some stick and blade work, since I never did it before. So I joined Collie Center Online. So
Paul Ingram?
Yep. So Paul Ingram's, I did that for 2 years, and you had a lot of great solo training curriculum stuff. It's very, very robust curriculum. And then I also, during that time, found Pro Chucks Online. Master Lee Barden passed away in 2017. And so I thought it was dead and gone. I thought the system was dead and gone. The chucks were dead and gone. But I came in contact with his senior student, Jason Daniel Lee, who ran a school in Florida. So he said, "Oh, you're certified under Lee, and I'm certified under Lee. Let's get together, and we can spread Lee's art to the nunchuck community," which is one of my goals. And I said, "Yes, that sounds great." So jet set it down there and trained with him for half a week. Met all those guys. Trained on the beach. It was great. And then he had an online school. So he's like, "Why don't you come to the online school?" He was also certified under Paul Vunak. And so he did rap training, and then he did Jun Fan. He was certified under Jun Fan and JKD. So Saturdays he did JKD, Collie, and Chuck's classes, and then he gave me a slot and said, "All right, why don't you teach live classes on Monday nights?" So for 2 years I taught in his school while learning in Collie Center. And then he couldn't keep his gym going, unfortunately, so that closed down, and the online portion as well. But then I met Joe Burke through Collie Center, and he does PTKWF, so he's under Mel Tortal. So for the last year and a half, I've been working with Joe for Pikiti Tertia. And I know your stance on Pikiti Tertia, we can talk about it, but I love it for solo training. I love it. Just get lost in the garage and just do forms and forms and forms and forms and forms. So,
there's nothing wrong. there's nothing wrong with PTK. It's the politics of all the all the groups that have. I did it for decades, and it was one of the main things. Like I'll just say this: I'd say about 80%, if not more, of all the dog brothers in Canada were all PTK guys,
Oh,
right? And the founders of the dog brothers all trained in PTK at one point or another.
Another, yeah.
The
yeah,
problem is there's a couple things I can go into, like training functionality and yada yada yada, but the
right,
politics of what really turns people off on any art, really.
right,
I was
right.
actually going to ask you real quick. So, are you a VUNAC guy as well, or were you? What's your lineage with JKD?
No, I never trained. No, just through Minnesota Collie Group and through Cornerstone, through Mike Amelia. I didn't train under Paul Vunak.
Okay.
Yeah. So to continue the tale, then, started, finding these groups online. I was never really big online, so 2020, finding all these groups and stuff like that. So the nunchuck community is a wonderful community. I started working with some of the guys online and getting into some of the groups. So I partnered up with a guy from the UK, Michael Lewin, who runs a club, and I've been with him for 3 years, and I help him run the club. I do the spreadsheet work and the tracking work. He got a smaller group, about 55 members in our group, and posting and participating is a necessity. You get booted from the group if you don't post and participate in 2 weeks. And we run events,
Good on
fun events,
him. So no
left over
window
8
shopping. Good
weeks.
on him.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's the events, he's got certificates for, these events that you can do. There's a partner event for 20 weeks where you get drawn with a random partner for 2 weeks at a time, and you teach them a move, they teach you a move. And there's styles from all over the world. So if you're a nunchuck fan, it's great. You just meet all these people from all over the world and swap moves basically. So doing that, and then a couple months ago started on with Dean for WPM.
Never heard of
Absolutely
that
love it.
system. I'm not, so I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you're doing.
Love it. Love the movement. Love it. Love it. Love it. And then one last thing is that you guys had Mr. Nicholas Digler on in the summer,
We
and
did. I guess
yep,
he's picking up momentum. He keeps thanking me. I'm not sure what he's thanking me for,
he's
but
thanking you because I joined his cane group, and we convinced him to start teaching cane. So he's starting to run classes, and he taught me, honestly, he taught me more. I never picked up a cane before. So he taught me more in one session than I had under, different instructors with cane stuff. So he's a good teacher. So that's all attributed to you for getting him, pushing him to do some teaching.
I hope it's a good thing. I wish him success. I really do. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're enjoying it and you're getting something, so it sounds like he's doing something right. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
which is
It's
good on
fun.
him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad to hear that through this show, he's able to get some momentum, and he's doing a class, and he's getting some folks that enjoy it, and that's always been one of my goals, regardless of the show, is giving folks attention, that maybe perhaps would never get a chance to be interviewed, but have something to offer and say. I mean, I
Right.
truly believe everybody has the right to be heard, unless you're just extremely toxic.
Right.
You know what I mean? But getting back to Renee, you got anything? I was just going to ask the nunchucks.
No, I'm actually interested in nunchucks. Sorry, as far as listening, it's probably the second worst weapon that I fought against.
Oh my god!
Because, well, I was also wearing the infamous mask that Dean doesn't like to wear.
Oh, you know what? I have the evidence right there. So this was in Renee's basement, Brian, and I had to wear, which is basically the thickness of maybe a few layers of tinfoil.
Oh.
Very flexy. So if you got hit with something really hard, I'm guessing the only protection it would give, maybe you're not going to get cuts, but it's not going to stop knockouts,
Brutal.
contusions, losing
No,
IQ.
it's sorry, I had to give the dad look to the kids who are running around doing something.
Like,
Um, uh, Yeah, like you get cut up pretty good when you get hit, especially because when it collapses. But what I found with the nunchucks that really sucked is I stepped in as they're being swung at me, and the rope caught the bridge of my nose, but it
Oh,
spun around. It spun around and split the back of my head open.
Oh,
oh, wow. Yeah.
So I didn't like that. I didn't like that at
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
You and Ray
Yeah.
Ferraro likes nunchucks, Barney.
They are a wicked tool to use too. Anybody that tells you they don't hit themselves, they're
Oh
not
yeah,
training.
man, I can't
They're
tell you
not.
how many times back in the day cracked my elbows, man. Yeah, they're lying to you. Yeah,
They are lying.
It's that
Yep.
and bullwhips. Like the first time I grabbed the bullwhip, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this makes a great noise. And then the second noise was me screaming because I hit the back of my neck.
I've
Yeah.
done that too with. Oh,
Yeah, Master Lee got into really long sectionals when he was getting older. He got into bullwhip and 3 sectional, long 4 sectional, and 5 sectional. Which
staff?
the longer the pendulous tool is, the more mindful you have to be of your lanes because it's
Are you talking
a
about
harsh
4
tool.
and 5 sectional staff?
Yeah, yep. So
How the hell?
he started creating long ones. Well, I
How
mean
the
the
hell do you
sections weren't.
manipulate a 4 or 5 sectional staff?
The 4 sectionals are shorter, so they're not as
Okay,
they're. But
okay.
the 5 sectionals were probably he would make them. I think
Oh,
6 feet. Yeah. So, but it's just exploration and again, circles and lanes and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. I guess like anything, you put enough practice in, you get more familiar, and you know how to move it without killing yourself. But I
Right.
mean, I've seen 3 sectional, but I be honest with you, I didn't even know 4 or 5 sectional even existed.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Have you ever seen a rattan whip? Sorry,
No.
I'm just
Yeah.
yeah. So they were playing with this at one of the gatherings I was at. I declined. So they took 2 inch pieces of rattan with eye bolts, and they made like an 8 foot whip out of it. And yeah, it just looked way too painful. So I said no, I'm good. But um, it was like pretty nasty. Like guys are getting mashed up pretty good, and
Yeah.
especially because of the eye bolts. Like they pinch you as they wrap
Oh yeah.
around. So when
I
they
can
were
imagine.
yanking back, it was like
Oh
it
my
was
lord.
yeah,
Yeah.
This is
yeah, no
something
thank
like out of the movie Road Warrior or something. What the
you.
freak?
Like a lot of my friends are doing like are fighting with chains and whatnot, and
Oh,
Oh yeah.
um, but I guess I saw enough of that stuff as a kid hanging out
you know
that
what?
doing it for fun. No, no.
I just can't. Wow, that's so. Just getting back. I mean, okay. Just I want to just bounce back on the PTK because you
Mhm.
had Paul Ingram, you
Yep.
had some PTI or Bill McGrath, and now you're obviously getting what I mean is Mel 2 on Mel. So is
Yep.
that more the Tri V?
What do you mean?
The Tri V formula is or you're just like what are you getting from your current coach as far as the methodology, as far as PTK?
Oh, dos methodos.
Those okay, yeah.
Yep. Dos methodos, and it's I out of all the ones I've tried, I find it the most enjoyable, honestly.
The Dose
Aside
Methodos
from
approach.
aside from some of the footwork stuff that you and I have talked about, but it's very very enjoyable, and I needed it. I mean, I needed the angles to clean up. To be honest with you, I don't do a lot of the stuff with stick. I do it with blades, so I can get the blade orientation from the get go. Um, and it's cleaned my angles up. It's cleaned my footwork up. Master Lee used to get on me all the time about footwork. He had the same footwork box, the FMA footwork box, because he trained, JKD and stuff like that. I mean, Brian, you got to get on your footwork. You got to get on your footwork. And empty hand, and it was funny because there was a disconnect. Empty hand, I had no problem with the footwork, but then you get into weapon calibration, and it just didn't click for a long time. And so now it's
It's
cleaning
just
up
funny
all
how we
that footwork.
compartmalize stuff. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
when you think
exactly.
about it, it's not
Yep.
really. It shouldn't be really different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same.
Like if
Yeah.
I'm in right lead and I'm going to do there, well, if I have a knife in my hand, you know what I mean. But we
Yep.
tend to compartmentalize. I mean, I've done it. You know, I don't know. I think it's just the way sometimes our brains are wired. Like it's something different, so we have to look at like you know what I mean instead of finding the commonality. I
Right.
suppose. What Paul Ingram, how was that? So like who was he? Was he under Who was he under as far as PTK? Tim
Um,
Wade? Somebody tells me Tim Wade, maybe.
yeah, I think he trained with Tim. Yep, and Joe trained with Tim as well. Some of my first forms that he had me do was Tim's forms. Yeah,
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 Tim
but
had some.
I think Paul Ingram's. Oh, sorry.
I've only been to one Tim Wade seminar. Actually, I think it was the same that Dean was on. Dean was in it. We didn't even like know each other or even know that we're at the same seminar. But
Oh, and Ron's.
yeah, with Philip and everybody else.
So this is circa early 2000.
2000s. Yeah.
And so we were probably in the same room, and who the hell knew we would be actually doing
I
like his
kept like,
poses.
I kept thinking like, who's this guy keeps trying to hold my hand? And then with like this guy with gray sweatpants, talk about
I was
knives.
just trying to find a training partner, and you rejected me. So
So I'm
oh,
stealing some of my food, my kids' food. No, I found some of Tim's footwork kind of neat back then, especially at that seminar. Like that long distance break in, break out. That was kind of cool.
running. You need to remember him on the whole running thing. This is not walking. You should be. You should be. That was interesting. Um, but yeah, that guy. It's hard to believe that was like 20 something years ago. So okay. The online. So what do you think? In other words, what's your overall lens on just regardless of the module, the style, whatever? Like, what's your overall lens on online training?
Well, I think that solo training is very important. Obviously, partner training is really important too, especially for energy drills, and but
Not right now.
there's a ton of stuff that you can do solo, and I think it's necessary because I think it's the more footwork you do, the more angles you work, the more hitting on Bob you get, the better off you're going to be.
Mm,
I think it's great for attribute building. I think you can get pretty far online, but ultimately you're going to need to bang it out, with partners, and it depends on your goal. Is your goal to be functional? Is your goal for self-defense? Is your goal for fitness? Is your goal for whatever? People do martial arts for different reasons. But there is, COVID changed everything. There's a lot of
it certainly
programs that
did.
that just offer online. So
Mm. No, change.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it changed the
funny.
landscape forever. I don't think it's going. It's not going away.
It's gotten worse.
Online training is not going away.
No, I think it got worse. Like I think everybody and their monkey, became an instructor overnight, and some of the stuff is just, whatever. It's
yeah.
just because just he came up with a system. I'll shit on them a lot just because I'm that kind of person. Um, but going back to martial arts and doing the cultural aspect of it, or whatever, I found like when I was training really heavily and I was training to go to gatherings, I couldn't care less about that. I was more into getting myself up to speed at the things at work, dissecting those things to make them work better. Then on my downtime, that's when I found, oh, that Sagita or whatever. How can I play with that? How can I, how does that actually work? And then some of the stuff bled into my other stuff. But I think it all depends on, for me personally, on where I am. Like if I was heavily injured, hey man, Sagitas are great.
Mhm. Yep. Modify what you can. Yep. Yep.
um, So I think I think it could be a great tool. I think it can be, and I could think it could be a great introductory to something that maybe you're curious about that you want to go into deeper and further. And I think the online can really offer that to see if it fits you, the instructor. Without going in person, you can get a good feel. You know what I
Mhm.
mean, for the temperament of the individual, what this
Oh,
methodology is
hell yeah.
about, and stuff like that. But from a permit basis, of course, you got it right.
I think it's a lot better now that way because, back in the 80s and 90s, you're traveling to go meet somebody to
And then
train
you're like,
and you're like, what a piece of shit this guy is, right?
right, and you got to travel all the way back home, and right.
I remember I was training with somebody, I won't mention his name, but he kept talking about Spix, and I was like, dude, you don't realize I'm Spanish, right? Like,
Jeez.
like what the hell's wrong with you?
That's rough. Oh,
Yeah.
we got stay. Yeah. So in other words, I think it serves a great purpose in those regards. Introductory, um, you know, working stuff that that you're going to agree, and you have the right discipline to work it at home. Stuff like
Mhm.
that. I mean, great supplementary, right? You know what I mean, to a certain level, like in WPM, to like level two, and then after that. But at least they know what they're getting into. They know what's ahead of them. You know what I mean? Certain systems, I think, lend themselves where you can be to a point, certain level can be done online, but obviously BJJ. Well, good
Yeah.
luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's we talk about this just about every week, but it's the same thing with JKD, right? It's like a lot of stuff is really cool. And again, I did JKD for at least 20 years. And for me, the problem with JKD wasn't, some of the concepts and stuff were really great, but you didn't get the actual, like for me, I didn't understand a lot of the stuff I was doing till I trained Muay Thai, or I started doing some grappling, or any other things, or I went to a separate Kali instructor, where then I could actually blend this stuff and it made sense. Because sometimes you're getting an interpretation of an interpretation of an interpretation. It just kind of
Right.
gets watered down.
Right. And especially if you just stay under that one particular, instructor or art.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it just goes back, like especially back in the day. I remember there'd be a lot of instructors that I knew, or you start training with them, and it's like, well, if you want to train with me, you can't train with someone else.
Yeah. Yep.
Gosh.
And I'd be like, oh, sure, I'll follow
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn right. Let
I'm
me
not
let me
signing
put this in
up.
my. Hold on a second. Let me write this down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah, that's
But I'm in the stage of my life right now where I'm going to be mid 50s pretty quick, and I love training. I always have. I'm happy when I don't have the kids and I can just train, put on some music and just train and train and train. And there there's difference between the art aspect, and there's difference between functionality, right?
hmm.
But it's training with all sorts of weapons is it's great cardio, it's great therapy mentally, physically. Would I rely on it for functionality? No. Never in any of my videos do you ever say, do you ever hear me
No,
like
no, you're very up.
self-defense?
That's why I wanted to bring
You
you
know?
on. You're very upfront with the videos. You explain that it's the art, and I think that's great, man. If that motivates you, and you're being upfront, man, I think that's
Yeah, I feel like I love having that white belt mentality where you just absorb, empty your fucking cup, check your ego aside, and just learn from as much as you can
wouldn't
and
that be a
fold it in.
wonderful martial arts world?
Yep. But yeah, so it's a blast. Three sexual staff. Let's learn that. Let's learn staff. Let's learn. Let's do brain training with mixed tools. Let's learn nunchucks and blade in one hand, and nunchucks in the other to separate move sets for brain training. I'm big on brain training. I love it. But again, it's different than the functionality. Would I use these in a fight? No. No. Mm-mm. Any other tool? The WPM stuff is great for functionality. Just
Yeah,
the
tacky
simplest, distill
pace.
it down to the simplest stuff that actually works. But it doesn't mean that it's not valid to enjoy the other aspects
No,
of,
I think
the art.
it's no. I think if
As long
you
as the people are being honest with you about it, like, yeah, why
Exactly.
not?
Yep.
And that's the thing.
Yep.
And again, where I am the asshole of the group is just when people are like, use this if you're being attacked by a grizzly bear. And
Right.
it's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Or when people like, and I have no problem saying that to people, instructors, 'cause I'm also a grown ass man. I'm 54 years old, and I don't have time for this nonsense. Like it's like when, like for me, honestly, I love when my kids go to the basement and come out with two fencing mats and two action flex sticks, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go?" And it's like, let's go. But when I watch some of these kid martial arts training videos and or programs that they teach in schools, I just they're like, okay, like tell the kid this is not going to work against an adult psychopath,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
like there's a lot of kids out there who are like, oh, if I tap on someone's hand, they're gonna let go, and I'm gonna run home, and my parents are gonna give me a lollipop. It's like,
Yep.
no, like those people should be ashamed of themselves.
Yep. Yep. Agreed.
The
Yep.
ethics slash the money and slash and yeah.
By the way, if you're a member at Costco and you get their chicken nuggets, and then if you get their butter chicken sauce and you dip it in, it's phenomenal. Just letting you
Just
know.
so you just want to let us know on the heat there. So
I was starving.
Renee talking about being truthful. Renee wasn't very truthful that night regarding the basement. I just want to throw that out there. But okay, we'll back to the regular programming.
Oh, no, listen.
uh,
I was truthful. It's like, hey, let's go down to the basement and just, we'll hang out. And we did. We hung out. And then,
yes.
like, I was like, well, I have to stop once in a while and do one of these. It's like, just to make sure my wife wasn't coming downstairs because it's 1 o'clock in the morning and, we're swinging sticks at each other and stuff.
Mm.
But it was, I was truthful. I think I was.
So you do some really neat weapon configurations and combinations. Was that like you're just like yourself basically chosen, or I mean, what was I guess
Yes. Well,
what was
I love chucks. So I love it. Anything that I try that I learn, I try and like incorporate it.
that's the
Mixed
so
tools.
trucks are the inspiration for you to conjoin with other weapons and stuff.
Well, yes and no. It's just great. It's great brain training to do mixed tools, one in each hand. To separate the weapon sets. So when I learn a PTK form, you'll see my videos that I'm implementing that form while filling the gaps with chucks, and try and incorporate, but keep the form. The right hand has to keep, the
Mm.
angles and everything correct, and then the left with the chucks, fill the gaps and incorporate it, but keep the weapons separate. So spear and chucks and daggers. So instead of Espada daga, pick up the chucks and use that. You'll probably see me do some WPM with the chucks. That's coming, but
It'll be
Do you play
it's
with
bringing Chuck in.
the distance or the chain that's in between your checks at all? Like,
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah. So for a long time, Lee Barden created Pro Chucks, and he created them like short cord for more precision, especially for hitting. Because when
okay,
you
see,
hit a
I thought
target,
those were like I thought those were two Amish candles for a second. I'm like, this guy really likes his candles. I wasn't sure what's going on there.
yeah, he created them for like they're more precise tools. So when you're hitting, you're not waiting on the other end, and there's less rebound if you don't continue your fluid strike. If you don't have proper striking mechanics, the dinosaur chucks, he called them, are a lot more tricky to use. But for decades, it was long cord bad. So I had that mentality of like dinosaur chucks bad. And then when I met Mike's like, oh my God, you got to try 6-inch, you got to try 7-inch, you got to try longer. And then we've got a guy from Australia who loves 9 and 10-inch. So I'm currently, starting to really get involved with long chain ones too. So it's a lot of fun, and multi-sectional, long section, three sectionals with 10-inch. So it just, the mechanics are slightly different, but the graph and the lanes and all that kind of stuff is the same. And that's a whole nother thing. Lee's system was it was brilliant because he changed the way I viewed martial arts, because he's like, okay, think of it as that the striking box, the footwork pattern is in front of you, on the side of you, behind you. We are literally in a graph, and there's quadrants and sections. We are making circles within those lanes. And in those circles, we have the hand positions. The Bongsa and Tansa are literally your handoff positions for the chucks. So he tried to, tell the JKD guys, like, this is going to help your trapping positions as well when you work with this tool. But if you start viewing the martial arts as that, you see the commonalities between. I think that's why I started picking up the PTK stuff so quickly. Was a number one is just an arc of a bigger ring. It's a full ring, but it's just a portion of it. So pendulous weapons, you're adding circles in that ring. So they're the same exact angles, the same hand positions, the same corners of the box, the same chambers. It's all the same. It's all the same. And so when you realize that, no matter what tool you pick up, a staff, a spear, a cane, a sword, a knife, the circles just get smaller. The angles and circles get smaller. But so that's why he said, his system wasn't necessarily just chucks. It was the study of the rings, the interconnection points of the rings around the box, around this, these planes that we're walking the hologram. So x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, and the figure eight and all that stuff, it's all the exact same. So that's it changed the way I started viewing martial arts. And he would tell me, it's very simple. Like Brian Kanata just, simplifies it, very concisely. What Lee used to tell me too, he would say opening and closing, circles. It's a forehand, it's a backhand, it's a thrust. Body mechanics, and that's it. That's it. So it took me a long, long time to realize that in my own training of like, oh, Lee used to say, no matter what you're doing with these, no matter all this crazy, the fancy freestyle stuff, there's just one move. The circle is going this way, and it's your perspective to it this way, or you're on this side, and everything's reversed. So, and it's, it applies to sword, it applies to staff, it applies to anything you put in your hand. So
And do you find when you tell the JKD guys how the chucks will help them, they say no, and Bruce didn't do it that way?
Oh yeah. They don't. Jason tried to get chucks in, Paul Vunak's, seminars and camps, and people are like they're cute. They're cute. That's cute. But let's get back to.
Now,
Yeah, I'm
I don't
not
think
surprised.
I don't think Bruce would do that. I think after he woke up and he had his 17 eggs, he would
Yeah.
just.
Ooh, Maynard was impressed with your breakdown, Brian, of the circles and all that. Do you have two set of chucks there?
I got multiple. I wanted to show you, like, I got some dangerous ones, some sharp.
If you want to do a little demo, it's up to you.
I was just going to ask him, like, yeah, why don't you, especially the dangerous ones, can you spin those around?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what. So
Renee, if you look at my Facebook page, I had fun with pumpkins.
And again,
these are spiked ball ones I made because, I'm a giant nerd and I like to have.
Here comes Road Warrior.
Yeah, bladed. I made bladed ones as well. Bladed Pro Chucks.
Jesus. All right, so Brian, here's the deal. I'm gonna lower. So this is how this works. Where we can make you bigger.
Oh,
no, that's
okay.
not that. No.
And just to let you know, as long as I've known Dean, he's never made me bigger. I'm always a small guy in the screen.
There wasn't enough money that your check didn't clear. But Brian, so here's what I'm gonna do, Brian. We're gonna lower ourselves, so you're gonna have the full screen.
Okay.
We'll be able to hear and see you. So when you're done, we'll come back up.
Do you just want me to just describe Lee's system?
Whatever you feel. Seriously.
All right. Okay. So let me get some space. All right. So the circles. So x-axis, y-axis, right? So the simplest of things, redondo, right? 1-to-1, one circle making one circle. So on this side of the body, your perspective is this way, your perspective is this way. Link them together in the middle in that y-axis, and now that's a 1-to-2. That's a figure eight, right? So you also have a 1-to-3. So 1-to-3 is 3 circles. So you're linking this circle here to this circle here. So you have them. So if I stand this way on that y-axis, here's your 1-to-3 on this side, and here's your 1-to-3 on this side. So you have them, that's the x-axis shapes. You also have, so if you look at the commonalities, Floretti, Dobletti, you're just adding smaller circles in this bigger ratio flow, right? So if you just change that, then you can change, here's your overs and unders. So here's your, if you change it, we're moving up and down on the y-axis. But, how does this apply? This is the same exact angles that you're doing for sword, staff, stick, The only difference is the chucks don't have the thrust as much. They do have a strike like that, and you can warp the ratios. So x-axis to y-axis. But this is wonderful to teach you the lanes around the body. And it's like I said, if the tools get bigger, your ratios get bigger. You have to be really mindful of the lanes because then you'll be, otherwise you'll be hitting yourself. But the handoffs are, Talon style, bonk style. So here's your, handoff position. So all this fancy stuff that you're doing, as Lee said, there's tons of handoff positions, but they're all the same, regardless if you have staff or stick or knife, stick or staff or spear. The handoffs are the same, but basically the graph, So this came about by his system was. You guys can jump back on. He got this from a French physicist. So his instructor, Grandmaster Roy, in the 60s, there was a French physicist, Antoine Jules Lissajous, who did tuning forks at right angles to find that sound travels in patterns. So Lissajous figures, so figure eights, different patterns. So they put that into their karate and their martial arts. Now, Lee and Roy did a lot of drugs at that time, so they could see the ratios around the body. So they started, implementing that into their arts and realizing like, oh, it's the same kind of circles that you use no matter what weapon's in your hand, the same circles, the same patterns. So they started seeing that in other arts. And there's a lot of politics between the two instructors, the nasty 50-year-old feud that's still going on, even though
What
died.
would it be without politics?
Yeah. So, but it's a fascinating system to kind of change the way that you can look at a lot of the stuff. And if martial arts is the study of the rings and the study of the hand positions in these lanes and planes that we're moving around. So, but it really did help enhance a lot of my arts, and but yeah. So
No, that was awesome. No, thank you. I mean, it's much more profound and deeper than I thought Chuck's were, to be honest with you. So that was educational. No, thank that was great. Awesome.
Great training tool. Great training tool. Yeah.
I never thought of it that way. You know what I mean? But based on your descriptive analysis, and I can kind of see that. Let's Renee's got something. Renee, you got anything? Because I got a question, but you got something? Anything? Renee is just he's just in awe of what he just saw. Matter of fact,
No. Hey, listen, I dig
like
it.
355. He just was like,
No. I dig it because I look at when people swing a stick or any kind of weapon, and I look at where their feet are going, and how they're moving around. So no, I definitely see it. No, I don't really have a question. There's a couple things I'm thinking about. Like one is why are my lips so orange? Um, the other one is
Buttersauce.
why is my son poking me in the face? And I know why. It's because
you're eating all this candy. Well, I got a
yes.
question. So, what made you like in like your? I think it's great. You went traditional. You found interest in JKD, the Pontukin, right Lee, commonality, et cetera, et cetera. Then you went to weapons by virtue of the Minnesota Kali group. What made you think like, okay, man, this is all? I'm gonna go look at that prison stuff. Like, what made you like even consider WPM because it's so far removed from the four mentioned.
Movement. I
Nice.
seek out and I'm drawn by systems of movement. Like I when I saw Joe Burke do his PTK, I was like, good Lord, look at this man move. That is like the embodiment of what I think of Filipino martial arts. So sought him and let's work. And WPM, love the movement. The move because it applies to so many different tools. So many different
Yeah,
an empty
the
hand, you're
crossover to other weapons for sure.
Team Sharpie, man.
Yeah, Sharpie, flashlight, my favorite. Definitely easily transitional, taking the power generation and the movement for sure.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
then
be
when
I'm gonna be biased when it comes to movement, and I'll just say a person like Eric Knaus, when he moves, not
Fright,
only purpose, but the power is,
frightening, huh?
that's yeah, well,
yeah.
yes, and very painful.
You would know. I mean,
Yeah, I
you
didn't like
would,
it. Again, I didn't like it at all. Like it was
Yeah.
fun,
may I
and
have
it's one of
another?
those things.
May I
You
have
know, I
another?
like when people say, "Oh, you got a chance to do that," and everybody's like, "Yeah, man, I went out there." No one talks about the fact that they soiled themselves in the middle of it, right? Because
Just tell you what Burton has shared with me the stories, and they were not at all times. They were not fun for Burton. So
I don't think it was fun for anybody. Everybody likes to pretend like it was, but it wasn't fun. You know, when you have a 200-pound man stepping on your face as he's running past you, and you say to yourself, "I could have sworn I've been standing a minute ago."
what happened? But yeah. So the move. So because one of the things I've been trying to over the last few years is get away from the stigma, the lens of like the prison, dark, and all that, but really showing folks, hey, man, yes, you can look at this stuff. Doesn't mean you need to conform and embrace the criminality and the dark side, but you can actually get so much of this stuff and transfer it to a legal sense. And I tell you, it's been a difficult process, but it's becoming much easier as of late because folks are looking at the people involved with us and they're like, well, man, it can't be that bad. Those guys are doing it.
Yeah.
Except for
I
Renee.
think that's what it. Well, listen, I'm one of those people that believes that you have to dip your feet into the criminality a little bit, when it comes to their mentality to kind of get this stuff, right? Uh, I'm not saying go out, rob a bank, or stab a bunch of tourists. I'm just, it's
Dean, your stuff
um,
works. Dean, WTM works. I did the following.
well,
You
no, no,
know, Renee, you bring up, I think about the conversations you guys have on this podcast quite a bit about the vast disconnect between what people train and what they do versus
Mm.
violent encounter, right? There's a disconnect there that it never pans out the way you think it's going to pan out. It it's very different. Yeah.
hey, I always equate it to a South African friend of mine that was actually robbed by a member of the Numbers Gang or a couple members of the Numbers Gang, and like what they did to him, like basically, it's, stripping him down and like urinating on him and beating on him and just, having this conversation between them on how they're going to end him. But maybe they can't because of the amount of people that are around. And he's totally conscious and they're laughing about it when somebody's stepping on him. Like he was an animal to them. He was not
Yeah.
even he
Evil
was no
and
more.
violence beyond just
So
any
when
norm.
you start thinking this is the way some of these people train this, or some of the, like it takes if that doesn't take the Hollywood idea of combat or anything else like that out, then there's an issue. Then you either are overconfident or someone's lying to you.
Yep. Yep.
It's the same thing. Listen, I can go on forever about this, but it's the same thing with like as far as I'm concerned, if you want to learn how to use chucks, you have to have someone like yourself who's going to teach them to make it functional, right? Just because you can spin them real fast doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You have to have that retention when you hit something or anything else. It's the same thing when I see people. Yeah, my lips are really orange, aren't they? It's the same thing when I see people teaching firearms drills or firearm defense, and they've never fired a gun before, or they they may not have some of the training, like a guy like Adam would cut these people apart because he's actually been in those situations. Um, like I remember speaking to an SF guy, and he says, hey, listen, I think this knife stuff is cool, but if I have to rely on my knife, that means my firearms have failed or I've lost them, which means I'm about to die. And it's like, and this is a guy who's a high level individual, and I don't sit there and go, "Pff, you don't know what you're talking about." I just sit back and go, okay, well, there's got to be something there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not trying to shit on anybody here or what we do. There's just, I think there's part of the real talk,
Mm-hmm.
at least my opinion, that's missing from martial arts.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was my rant.
I have
I've had a few of these, so I'm just
luckily my verbal JKD is pretty good, and I've gotten myself out of
Well, there
situations
you go, though. That's so important.
in Minneapolis that I probably shouldn't have been in. But I do want to share one story. I did get I did get in one fight as an adult after I started training, and it kind of shook me because you hear these stories of what if the person's on drugs and what if it doesn't affect them and all this stuff, and it was the scenario like that. We were on State Street and my drunk Marine friend was yammering away at a veteran homeless guy and just constantly antagonizing him as we're walking back and forth from bar to bar. And finally, the guy snapped and attacked. And, they're at it and ripping shirts and hitting each other. And then I jump in and I was like, all right, Minnesota Cotton Group, let's go. And I grabbed the guy's head and concussion elbow and then, the heavy tools and gave him a knee to the solar plexus. He just shoved me aside and jumped back on my friend. It did nothing. And I thought, I'm hitting this guy really hard. And then the cops are right there because, it's State Street. And they have this guy on a short leash. And, they say, okay, sorry, kids, he attacks multiple college students. We watch him late at night. So they put him in the back of the car. He's banging his head against the window and it starts bleeding and it's just splat. And they're like, yeah, he's probably on crack or PCP or whatever. It's a good thing we stepped in because he probably would have killed me. But it just shook me to my core of like, what am I doing? Is none of this gonna work? Like yeah.
It's like I've people will tell you a headbutt will take a person out, or an elbow will take a person out.
Uh-oh.
And
that would be a sign of an internet. Oh, he's back.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
He did that on purpose. He wanted to bring up, just the.
Like I remember getting hit with something. It was an elbow, and not and again, I was taught you hit that proper elbow, the person goes to sleep. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I remember like getting hit, and I was like, I might have been running away, or maybe like getting in my car and went to go scratch my head, and my fingers went underneath my skin of my scalp because I was like, sorry, sweetheart, my daughter's eating beside me.
Oh my God.
Anyways, I went to get some stitches. But how's your food, sweetie?
And by the way, I know I'm talking about.
Daddy's fine.
Yeah, but it's just like again, I think there are things that work really well, and there's some things that are just kind of roll the dice, right?
Yep.
There's been plenty of times, even in a stick fight, where there's one particular gentleman, Randall, who we were trying to have on, and I cracked him across the jaw with a stick from his ear to the tip of his jaw, and I just literally just dropped. I remember relaxing my shoulders and bringing my stick down, because usually that's like the end, and then he like picked me up, and I was like, "Whoa, this is not good, right?" Anyways,
but no.
And that guy, and anyways, we're just happy that Dean got cleaned up since that incident, and he's no longer hanging out by college bars.
Attacking college students.
Well, first of all, I got through this experience, got home, just got through the other experience, so I'm doing much better. Thank you, everybody that's concerned. Yes. So, Brian, this has been fascinating. Maynard loves your movements with the nunchucks, by the way. So
can you do it again, but with two? Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, let's do it. We're gonna drop ourselves.
Doubles.
All right, folks.
Let me move the chair.
More to come.
River, come check this out.
Do you want chucks or do you want a blade in chucks?
Whatever. Seriously, whatever you want to do. If you want to do both, whatever you want to do.
All right. Well,
let me know when you're done. Okay.
So with two, you got to just be mindful of your lanes. But yeah, I don't know. This, is this stuff for combat? No, not necessarily, but it is super fun. And it's great for coordination building and, not even talking about the fancy rolls and all that kind of stuff. Cause there's all sorts of fancy stuff you can do with this stuff. But, there's a whole subsection of freestyle nunchucks out there. But I do like the striking and stuff like that. So here, let's pick up It's going to bleed. But one of my favorite things to do for the mixed tool training is to go through my patterns with this stuff. Pow. So just going through the dirty dozen. So now I'm going through all the dirty dozen stuff. But it's wonderful to try and get, the tools separate, but integrated as much as you can. So, but yeah, without dancing around the living room, because let's be honest, that's really what I like to do. But
No, that was
No, I
awesome.
think
Thank
like
you
doing
for
your episodario and stuff like that would be really
yeah.
cool.
yeah,
And actually the stuff that you're saying that it's not for combat, we don't know that, but because you practice that stuff so
No.
much, it just becomes second nature.
yeah, I do try and hit Bob with it, which is, a different animal. But
Movement. Those pro chucks are fire. Yeah. We have a
Yeah,
question.
have you seen some of the videos where Dean hits Bob? Sometimes it's uncomfortable.
yes.
No, no, not those videos. The hitting part, it's like you got a
Yeah,
problem and he starts hugging Bob and you won't let go.
I'm telling you, we've had very intimate moments, me and Bob.
Bob's the best.
Yeah, me and Robert have had some intense conversations, discussions, and interactions. That's all I can say. That's all I'm going to say on my relationship with Robert. We have a question for you,
Did you,
Renee. What was the
uh,
stick made out of?
which one?
I guess the one that you cracked a guy on the jaw. I'm guessing.
Sorry, which one?
The one where you cracked a guy the jaw.
Oh, it's rattan.
Or maybe he's asking Brian. He's asking one what the sticks are made of. But he
For
said
Pro
stick.
Chucks?
Well, why don't you both answer? Be safe.
Rattan.
I'm a exotic wood fan for
Okay.
training weapons. So I've got Cadillacs, ironwood, bloodwood,
Getting hit with
Bacote,
ironwood by
zircony,
those things.
hickory.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you name it, I've got a collection of them.
Wow.
So
Wow. So
Yeah, that strawberry guava is pretty crazy too. That's like a crazy ironwood. It's
ironwood.
like absolutely insane.
yeah,
We get
Cocobolo and
cracked.
Cadillacs are really, really hard. So
Hey, what was that? Just just before we close, what okay, so you explained why you BPM, the movement, and all that. If you had time to do another art, um, there was a time allowance, the interest, et cetera, et cetera. What
KI.
would it be? Alrighty, we have an answer. Uh,
Actually, since you like moving, have you ever checked Krabi Krabong out before?
No,
that'd be
no.
yeah, the double.
So
That would be something.
every weapon has a dance. And
Cool. Okay.
there's a standing and sitting versions of each dance. Um, when I was more into the cultural aspect of the art, I really enjoyed it. I still
Cool.
use one of the
Okay.
dances as my warm up, but for me, it's I use it for fighting.
Right.
Yes. Is that a drink? Strawberry guava. I guess it's a
And
drink.
it,
Yeah.
and if anybody from Costco is
Do
watching,
some of your
these
spot.
are delicious.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That much needed information. Danny Terrell wants to know: can you do some of your spotty daga chucks?
Uh, yeah. I don't. Yes, but Coach Danny. I need to revisit Spotty Daga because
Okay, no worries, no worries.
we just got through Tertia Largo, Tertia Corto, which has definitely helped my hand position with the dagger.
Seth
So
Raymond saying you need to also do Medusa.
yes, I do. Yes.
So
Yep.
Seth
That
is just
that's
throwing
on
that
the
out there.
list. Yep. I talked to Mike about it. Yep. That's on the list.
Mike Raymond. Okay,
Yep.
okay, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they're both us. But so Ki.
Yeah, you blew my mind with that seminar, man. I talked to Joe about it too, and he sent me a bunch of YouTube links to check out. And we had a one-on-one on Monday to go over a billion forms, and we were talking about the difference of the box being very, very narrow and the tip in front, and just makes sense to me. It's very logical. So
Yeah,
no wasted movement.
no wasted movement, and I mean less is more. Going beyond just the information, less
Right.
movement is more. Doing what you need to do, but to have opportunity while dealing with the threat, not over complicating things, but not also overcompensating for movement. and
Yeah. Yep.
so yeah, yeah, definitely the efficiency, but the efficiency goes beyond the movement. I mean, that's absolutely part of it, 100%. But it's also the mindset, because once you adapt the mindset to being efficient, thin, and all that, then that tends to come out physically, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, so hand in hand for sure. Yeah, well, there's the other one coming up. So I'll piggyback. Got Jaime there. So what?
is that like a Zoom kind of thing, or was this in person?
Oh, Zoom intro to Ricketts faction.
I
They'll
never
do
get
another
told when
one.
these things happen, right? So I just find out afterwards.
Yeah,
Crying shame.
I sent you an invite. You didn't get it. So.
Have you checked your junk folder? Yeah.
They're all put. You're always welcome. I just figured you're busy on the weekends, or you just don't, or I know you don't like my material, so you just so
I
screw
can't stand it. But
it.
no, the weekends is a time where I sit in my basement in the dark
And
room by
reflect.
myself. And
Do you sit in the basement and then reflect on this?
so what I do is I turn a light on and then turn it off. And I just yeah. And then my wife will come downstairs and say,
Dean's
it's
not here,
been
Renee. Give it up. Get
it
back upstairs.
Renee, it's been 2 days. It's time to go back to work. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
All right. I just thought maybe you would show up or
Do we
something.
have any more of those chicken nuggets and butter chicken sauce?
We do. Come upstairs.
They put them on the stairs just to lead me up, just like ET, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh lordy. So what would you like to see changes in the community? Like, what would you like to see, Brian? That, if possible, changes that you would for the collective good.
Well, I'm a newbie. I've been doing the weapon FMA work for under 4 years, but the politics. There's a lot of politics and infighting about which system is more legitimate and
Fortunately.
more. The efficacy of each is hotly debated. But I think it's all great if you're moving your body and you're bettering yourself and you enjoy it. What's the problem? I don't know. I don't
You
really.
know what's really funny about that is that for some reason people take on the fights of their instructors, which is basically they're fighting another business, right?
Yeah.
That's like that's like you work for Marvel, but you're gonna crap on the DC guys because they have superheroes too, but you are
Mm,
Marvel, right? It just
Yeah.
I I had to learn that the super hard way, where I ended up basically damaging my own reputation, out of, again, it was lead the charge, Renee, and then it's like, by myself. But yeah, that's honestly a message that that would love for people to, like, whatever your wars with other people, I'm here to train. I don't
Yeah.
care.
infighting, like
And
taking
it,
on, like, I get those folks that really in a good fight for their instructor, and they weren't even around then. What happened? You know what I mean? It's like so silly.
You know what the best is when you hear an instructor is like, if you train with this guy, you'll be kicked out of the system. Don't
Oh
ever train with that guy.
Lord.
Then 2 weeks later, you see them in a video hanging out with the guy that they don't want to be with and giving him a plaque.
I
It's
just
like,
folks like that. There's a overcompensate for something. There's something missing in them, because if you're confident in what you do, you're happy with what you give the folks. Like, then there should be no inferiorism that you self create, and I mean, which leads to negative behavior. Where
ego and
you,
validation. That's what it is.
yeah,
Ego and
it's like,
validation.
yeah, there's usually something missing within them, whether it's mental, physically, or both, unfortunately, where it's fear. And a lot of times it's fear. You know what I mean? It's fear. It really is. Because if you're
it's a
confident,
small window, man. It's a small window. It's a small piece of pie, right? Like, like how long, I still think they should do a study on stick fighting and what what the major dangers are of stick fighting for long term, because it can't be good for you. But I think all these other arts, like your window of teaching where you're at your peak, is pretty small. Like when you're actually like can get out there and mix it up with some people.
Mm.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I know that Philip is still mixing it up in his 60s and 70s, and I mean like really like fighting. Um, but then again, it's a small piece of pie, and sometimes the person who has a better media people around them does better
Better
than the person who's a better
team,
martial artist.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
unfortunately, right? You got the good social media team, right? Is
And that's
the
what it's all about right now. I find it's more about, uh,
This is so
who's
true though with
flashier.
coaching. I've always said this on the show. It's not the teacher. It's not the system. The most important piece of the puzzle is the student. Your journey. It's not their journey. It's not the system's journey. It's your journey. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And whatever makes you happy. If you're not hurting anybody else, who cares what you like? But if you put the smile on your face, get you off the couch, right?
Yep.
Sorry, did you say hurt people? That's all I heard.
No, if you don't hurt people, if you're not hurting people, you're just you like to just bring out or try to bring out the negativity in me. The long
Possibly.
term effects of stick fighting, unemployment. GM Ray Floro. That could be potentially true, right?
I know that um, through the 90s and early 2000s, when I was strictly working as a carpenter, there's a few weeks that I missed. And when I broke my arm, my ulna, that kind of sucked for work.
Oof.
Um,
Yeah.
it's hard to be a one-armed carpenter. Um, but going back to what we were saying before about, the one thing I would like instructors to do is to stop taking credit for their students' accomplishments. It's like, hey, you might have taught somebody something, but if they got themselves to a certain level, competition, like, sorry, that was them. They're the ones that stepped out there and did
They're
it.
the ones who, yeah, right. I know that's going on. The other thing too is give credit. Like sometimes, Ryan, we bring up something and then we'll spiral down a rabbit hole. Just like, and the question being, of course, like, what would you like to change? Like, and this is stuff that we talk about often to try to get the message out there. But like, it's one thing that Renee said for sure on that. The other thing is too, like, man, if you give credit to people, like if you got something from somebody, just mention where you got it from, and maybe not from the person, but who that person got it from. Maybe that person's dead, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, how many
Like
times do you teach somebody something and then 5 minutes later they make a video and they act like it's theirs, right? Like that's all bullshit. Like
Yeah.
that's fucking bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
yeah,
And
you're right.
I'm not saying I'm anything special or anything like that, but I've seen a lot of guys who taught some. I've seen guys that I brought down for seminars teach something to a class, and then some dude will make a video, but not give credit to the
Mm-hmm.
person that just taught it to him.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's some high level douchebaggery for me. It's like, eh, and again, I'm trying to be nicer and not jump on people as much as I used to, but I can't stand that crap.
no,
I
because
really,
again, where the person got it from, like you got it from that person, but maybe they got it from somebody who's like died, or I mean, like just out of respect for that individual. You know what I mean? That's yeah, that's the thing, or people. I know. Not to get negative here because we were being so positive with you, Brian, and
Well,
all your.
it's not just the FMA community either. I mean, it's
No,
oh
oh
martial
fuck
arts
God,
no.
oh
groups
yeah,
in general.
100.
Like the nunchuck community is wild too. Like
Yeah,
a
no,
lot of
we no for sure.
cutthroat stuff and politics, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for sure. It's yeah, no, it's in every art. Yeah, 100%. We're not
Our
just picking.
system did that back in 1942.
yeah.
Like, there's no evidence of, yes, there is. My
Absolutely,
instructor told
yeah.
me that.
Or they try and like copyright certain things. Like I own a figure eight. It's like
This is so funny
nobody
from
owns a
Seth
circle. Come
Raymond.
on.
There's a picture that goes along with this statement, and it's very funny. That's all I'm gonna say. Sets, yeah, and we still give the time, give flowers, yeah, right. What else? What else? Yeah, maybe it's not, but I bet it's
For a while there, I remember like JKD was like, it made the FMA politics look like, there was just
yeah.
a
I tell you, you go on
just an,
Dwight Wood's page. sometimes I'm like, wow, I thought FMA discussion was bad. I'm
Yeah.
like, things are not so
Oh,
bad, you know.
the whole nucleus thing when that kicked in, and
Oof,
you can't use this symbol, you can't use that symbol,
that's some
and we
bad
know Bruce,
times.
we knew Bruce better than you did. It's like,
Or the
Yeah.
whole Ted Wong faction versus Dan Asano. I mean, that's always a hot one.
Yeah.
You know?
Nunchucks too. Bruce Lee.
Yeah,
Every time anybody brings up nunchucks with
yeah.
Bruce Lee with me, but I'm like, I always say like, yeah, but Dan and Osanto.
There you go. Like, yeah, they just don't want to. It's not you. They just don't want to like there. But final thoughts. Any closing thoughts to the wonderful community that you would like to share tonight? No, I'm just.
Well,
well, when
since
I was
I
5, oh wait, that's not for
yeah,
me.
really. Back in the my message is it's never too late. It's never too late. Learn the system that you always wanted to learn. It's never too late.
Good.
If you have your
Good
health,
advice.
and if you don't, modify what you can. Always modify what you can. So, and enjoy it. Enjoy your training. If you're not enjoying it, why do it? So, and
Amen.
also don't let people put value on what you do with your time. If you enjoy something, you enjoy it.
Oh, that was well
So,
said, man.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. That was
Yeah,
well
like honestly, it's like I would say train with someone like this gentleman right here. If someone said that to me when I first started and some of the things I trained in, I would have been a lot happier, might have stuck around a bit longer
This guy
instead of
would have been a
slashing the
lot. This
tires.
guy would have been a lot happier too, not going in the basement if somebody told him, well,
You know what? I have to give credit to Eric for that because he said, the way I used to get people to come and train with me, I would just say, hey, why don't you try this glove on?
I know. I
'Cause You
heard
don't you don't feel anything when I hit you there, right? Yeah, not
birds
in
like,
the
hey, why don't you try
Let's
this
try
on?
the
See, it's not bad. Then all of a sudden he pulls out the 31 2-inch diameter, 31 sticks, and you're
other. Yeah, by that time it's too late because you're like, oh, I feel pretty good about this. I think I can do this.
and then 20 seconds later,
I think it's a great way of doing it. I think it's just,
I
I
wouldn't
look at
be,
it this way.
yeah,
When I first was apprenticing as a carpenter and I had to like cut into a $3,000 door back then, which is probably like 6 or 7 now, and your hands are shaking, the guy's like, just cut the door. He's like yelling at you to do it. It's just, if you fuck up, you fuck up, right? You just
Brian
kind of
said he
go
would
for it.
go in the basement. So I don't know.
Who's that?
Brian said he would go in the basement.
Brian who?
Kanata?
Who's that?
Brian, I don't know if you're ready for the basement. Renee, there's a lot of stuff down there. Actually, you don't have a basement anymore, do you?
I do have a basement. It's just much smaller, so it actually makes things a lot more dangerous.
Oh my God, and a lot more creepier. Wow.
Before we had room and stuff.
Yeah, run
Now
to
there's
hide
just
and try to escape. I don't know.
and there's a I have a creepy no not a creepy I have a garage that used to be a coach house here with a fireplace in it. I've been told I can start using that as well.
that's nice. Brian, this has been awesome, man. I hope you had fun coming on. We thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought your demos were excellent.
Thank you. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I thought I was going to get roasted to no end. So
No. I was just kidding about the torture chamber and all that. And just, oh my gosh, no. I knew I had a feeling this would be fun, and I'm good. And I'm glad you were comfortable with doing some of the demos. I think folks really enjoyed them.
I was very comfortable, thanks.
We were
you're
eating
coming
chicken
in.
nuggets with and candy. Like, why wouldn't you be comfortable?
Well, it's about being healthy, right?
Yeah, moving the
And
body.
that's what I'm really promoting now is health.
I could tell
Chicken
with the
chicken
bag of
nuggets,
candy
Yep.
bag of
last week, and
candy,
this week.
and
Hey,
and,
man,
and I get to play with.
it's dad life right there, man. I get it.
Amen.
I understand. I get it. I wish my girls were more interested in martial arts. They have no
Yeah, but
interest.
give it time. Don't give up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and they
You never
want to
know.
hit me with the weapons, but the second I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah,
move
Honestly,
on.
give it
can
time,
I tell
man.
you how I did it? And no word of a lie, I did not push it at all. I just moved around the house, and I was always like, uh, grab a stick and move around my wife, and she grab a stick and move around a little bit. They come by, just tap them a little bit, and then all of a sudden they just kind of were like, they come up to me, it's like, hey, Daddy, can we spar? And I'd be like, I suppose we could, you know.
Yes.
Let me just put this mask on real quick. And, no,
let me just stop what I'm doing right now. But we can do it. We can.
I have allergies. Dean Franco wore this mask, and now my eyes are burning. Um,
That was the poison I put in it.
yeah, but now it's like we're looking at the way my son's moving around. He's like got jujitsu written all over him.
Nice.
River's really good at Muay Thai, and yeah, that's my son now. Um,
Hello.
and but no, it's just that it's like they're naturally kind of going for it. Here, you want to go in? Here.
Yes,
Yeah, don't
Robert.
give up, Brian. I mean, yeah,
Hey,
just
check it out. Smile.
hey, all right, it's
Yeah.
fairy, right?
I said, do your homework.
Yeah.
Bring it here. Bring it here. That's my diabetic. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, Brian, thanks again, man. We'll be in touch. So,
Yep. I'll get some videos to you real soon.
Hey, if you want to check out some of the videos of Could Be Wrong, some of the dances and stuff.
Yes.
If you join Toro Clan, there's a bunch of craziness out there. That's the group that I run here.
Okay.
And honestly, I would love for you to post some of your vids out there too, because I think I have a lot of friends that do 3-section
Oh
and
yeah.
fight with it. So I
mm,
think
Yeah.
seeing some of your movement might give them some inspiration to try some new stuff.
Okay.
that'd be
Cool.
awesome. Yeah, these are
Great.
fine,
Thank you.
Toro. Awesome, awesome. All right,
Yeah,
Brian.
man.
I'm glad you came
Listen,
on. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
glad that what Dean said is it wasn't true. So that's good.
You know, like at least we got that out of the way, right? I mean, I knew it was going to come out.
Ronan, no.
Awesome. We got a great one. So GOM has been nothing but positive, but yes, like what I do is, Brian, I download it, then I'll definitely post it and everything. So
Okay. All right.
All right, cool cats.
awesome. You take care.
All right. Thank you.
Anytime. All right. That was a good one. I enjoyed it. I just figured I'll bring that up.
Not me.
So
Can
I
you
thought
tell,
it was neat,
can you tell
man.
her who's on? No, hey, that's enough. That's enough. Can you tell her who's on babysitting duty today? Um, it was funny the first 5 times. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I thought it was a good one. Enjoyed the videos. I enjoyed what he had to say about. I thought it was good. Yeah.
I really liked it. I like this movement. The movement's really good.
I thought the way he
Like I
explained it and how it trans into everything. I thought he was really articulate. Yeah,
I want to
I
check some
did.
of
I
that stuff
mean,
out with the chucks with the knives and all that. Like that is terrifying to me, but I think it'd be kind of cool to check
you
out.
won't be seeing this guy doing any of that anytime soon. But no, I thought it was really neat, like how deep he went into that
Hmm.
and all that. Like I knew he did chucks, but I never for a moment knew that he hit explanations of movement and the crossover. I mean, I thought that was informative.
Yeah, yeah, and the
Well
videos
done.
he sent as well, like the one when he's river dancing. I thought that was pretty awesome.
On the raft, that yeah, we
Yeah,
didn't show those, but we can if you know.
yeah. It was kind of weird because he went to like a really heavy Irish accent. I wasn't sure what was up with that, but
Yeah,
I
but I
thought that was
mean,
pretty
but
cool.
at the end, it kind of we tied it together, and so
It's all about weaving it together.
that's it.
Just
Awesome. Well, next week we got also. Well, I got a couple ideas, but I don't have anybody confirmed. I can't. But if you got, you let me know.
yeah, I would love to for people to actually confirm with me as well because I'm getting kind of
Well, if they
what's the
don't, no
word?
worries. I have a couple ideas. Um, so I thought it'd be really, I could share with you what I'm thinking, and I think you enjoy it, and I think maybe folks that um, who were had injuries and all that, and how they train still and stuff like that. I thought that'd be kind of maybe highlight some few folks like that. That's one thought. Those
Yeah.
that maybe would never get a chance to speak on that, right? I got two folks in mind, so I thought that'd be a neat. That could be something neat.
Yeah, like I think I mentioned before about one of my students that was going through cancer and was still like training and fighting.
Yeah, that was
By
yeah.
the way, big shout out to the Vancouver beat the crap out of cancer. They raised over 20 grand.
That is phenomenal. That's awesome. That's commendable. Wow.
Yeah, 53 fighters in the 104 fights.
See, when you got that many, I just know when I did a couple of cancer. I mean, you got the line and you're there. So if you got 50 people, unless you want to be there all day, you're not getting a whole lot of fights. I mean, depending on how long you want to go for, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
When
but
we
can you
did,
run? Have you ever done one where you run two consecutive rings?
no, but what I did is I would change the fight times to a minute to 90 seconds.
Oh, see, then you can get more. Yeah, if you got that many people, that makes it. But the one we
And you know
did,
what?
there was
It
a ring.
goes
We ran two
right.
rings. Hmm?
When you have short rounds,
Yeah.
it makes people amp up and go
Yeah,
hard like
because
right off the bat.
you got to do whatever you got to do, man, in a minute, right? So maybe that like snake game or feeling out is kind of goes to
Well, here's the other thing. If you're dealing with somebody who gasses out quick,
yeah.
it doesn't give you the game of waiting him out is not
Mm,
around anymore, right?
I think so. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, but that's a good point. If you got a lot, just shorten the ring time, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, like
Um,
I remember the 1 minute fights were like brutal, like
well,
absolute brutal.
I'm getting the sense of urgency. You got 60 seconds, right? So you're going to go and just do what you got to do, right? Yeah. No, yeah. So we got going on this weekend? Anything?
Um, no, I'm gonna chill out. I'm just been really getting into like training again. So like I think I mentioned this to you already. Like I've since my accident, I've dropped a bunch of weight. Like I'm just floating over 200 pounds right now. So um, hopefully by mid next year, I'll be back to about 180. As long as I get it clear from my doctors, I'm going to be fighting again. So
How can you get be light? Well, you're going to be lighter in May. Wow.
you know what? I fought at 175 and I loved it because I was stupid fast. And then I fought at 220 and I was hitting really, really hard. But I kind of like that whole lighter thing.
Yeah, I want to lose. I want to lose 5 pounds. I tell you, it's a huge difference. I feel it in actually my knees. Seriously, I really do though. Like I just feel like when I fluctuate within. I'm telling you, you can. I feel it anyhow. When I do lose, it's
Yeah,
like
like after my accident, when I was walking up the stairs and I was gasping for air, like I said, like a cow inside my house, I was like, "Fuck this! Like I'm not doing this anymore."
no, it's time you got to jump
And
in.
and honestly, like I don't know what it is lately because I've been working like a maniac, so I just like crave sugar all the time. Um,
Say
but
about
I've
sugar.
been actually watching for the most part. Like I've been mostly carnivore. I
Oh,
feel
so you've
great.
been losing. So you're like, with exception of candy, low on the carbs, huh?
Like
Yeah,
no carbs.
yeah, yeah. I
So
gotta lose. Yeah, I want to get down 185 if I can. Yeah, it's too. Yeah, but awesome. Well, we'll be in touch. I'll let you know. I'll reach out if you don't have anybody. I can reach out to a couple of these folks for next week, and we can go there.
sounds like a plan.
Awesome, awesome. All
I'm
right.
also working on being nicer. So
I think everybody's gonna be very happy
you
with
know what?
that.
Why don't I do this? Why don't I spend my weekend trying to be nicer to
Mm.
people? Maybe if I'm hanging out in the basement, I'll leave the light on instead of flicking it on and off and see what happens.
I think so you won't create that stimulus with turning on and off. You know what I mean? Where they can make things erratic up there. Like just sit and just reflect on 355 and just sit in a chair. You know what I mean? I think that'll be my suggestion.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird. My daughter didn't eat her dinner.
All right, man.
All right.
All
Talk to you
right.
later.
Sounds good. All right.